You know, the craziest thing about dropping all of that sugar is that when I went on the scales, there
Yeah,
wasn't a massive difference in like weight loss, but
yeah,
my clothing
yeah.
was fitting so much looser and everything. So when I spoke to
Mm.
my gynecologist, she was saying to me, Jennifer, what you've lost is the information on your body. So what was making your body
Oh,
full of water and bloaty was the
mm,
sugar. And once
right.
I calmed all that down, the whole body size just started changing. I was the first one in my queue at school, the spotted dick pudding, semolina with jam. I was there. I was that person. And then, yeah, but the reason why I'm not doing it, I don't feel like I'm tortured. I've never been a drinker, that sort of stuff. But
Yeah,
the reason why I'm doing it is because I want to be the best version of me. I'm so proud of myself for actually doing that because I know
yeah,
why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for
yeah,
anything else other than like to show anyone else. I'm doing it for me because I really want to give my body the best it can give so it
yeah.
can give me the best I can have for the next
Mm.
20 or 30 years.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Menopause Whilst Black, Season 8, Episode 4. Welcome to another information packed episode from Menopause Whilst Black, the podcast that is committed to sharing the stories of Black people experiencing menopause and primarily, but not always, based in the UK, as you will know by now. My name is Karen Arthur. I am the broadcaster, the founder, and I do lots of other things as well. I usually reel them off, but you know what? This isn't about me. This is about my latest guest. I have a lovely cup of hibiscus tea here, and the sun is about to go down, so I'm winding down for the evening. I hope wherever you are feeling safe and well and loved, and just have a listen, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, bye. Enjoy. Please be aware that the following episode contains mention of SA and death by suicide. Go gently. Hello and welcome to Menopause Whilst Black, the podcast, Season 8. This is the podcast that is committed to sharing the menopausal stories of Black people in any stage of menopause. And I have a wonderful new guest for you today. Jennifer Stoute has represented Great Britain more than 20 times, competing in 2 Commonwealth Games and 2 European Championships, where she earned both gold and silver medals. The highlight of her career came at the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, where she won a bronze medal in the 4x400 metres relay, cementing her status as one of Britain's finest sprinters. Jennifer returned to the public eye as Rebel in 1986 on the immensely popular television show Gladiators. Her 4-year stint on the show established her as a role model for children across the UK and an ambassador for numerous youth charities. This experience led to further acting opportunities, including TV and radio appearances, roles in pantomimes, and guest spots on shows like This Morning and the Disney Channel. Currently, Jennifer runs a global sports management company, Astra Partners, with her ex-partner and father of her children, John Regis. Jennifer signed with Europe's leading agency, Models One, as a mature model at the age of 53. Jennifer is a sought-after speaker who motivates others to reach their full potential. Welcome, Jennifer.
You made me sound really lovely. I quite like that. I was thinking, who is that person? I want to get to know her myself.
You know what? I love that. I mean, I've said this so many times
Oh,
before, but
it's so good.
when I first did season 1 of Menopause Whilst Black, I would read the bio after people had gone, like when I recorded my intro. But I don't know what made me decide to read it on when the person can hear it. But I love watching the reaction because you're listening and you're grinning, and it's a beautiful thing. So
No,
yes,
and also,
are you that?
yeah, I know, but the thing is, I think with life, because we just
Mm,
go from one day to the next,
mm,
you literally don't have enough time to sit and actually see what you've done throughout the years of your life. You don't, you can recall it, but it's
mm.
different when somebody else actually speaks it, because then you
Yeah,
actually listen. Because you can tell yourself, but it just goes from one ear to the next. But when someone's actually saying it, you're like, wow, like
yeah.
really? 20?
And
Gladiators? Really?
and
Yeah.
and also what people won't know is that we took a lot of that stuff out, but that's what we're going to get into now. So there's lots more. There's lots more to Jennifer. Tell us about you. Who are you outside of that title?
I think for me, I am probably one of the most busiest persons in terms of like family life, because I'm probably very, some people may say over dedicated towards my girls, because I'm trying to establish a great work ethic for them,
Mm,
and then also to kind of like get them to understand that you can create and become the best of yourself. And
yeah.
so Jennifer away, I love watching people succeed. I love to see people smile. Do you know, I actually love human life.
Mm,
I love people. I love people. I love to see what makes people smile. I love to understand that, I will give you the best of me, you give yourself the best of you. That sort of
mm,
stuff. And sometimes I get overwhelmed because I give away too much, and then I have to draw myself back in a little bit. But I am all this, and I think it could be from the fact, most of my childhood was in Barbados, and just the work ethic of how hard you have to work to
mm,
get to where you want to be. And
mm.
I truly believe that everybody has their day.
Yeah,
Everybody has a day. And
yeah,
that's the bit you have to work forward towards.
yeah. And that's the bit. That's the bit that not everybody recognizes, and it's wonderful that you're out there, not just being a role model to people watching what you're doing, but also being able to inspire others to step up and own their power, or whatever phrase you want to put in there as well. So that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And it's not, yeah, and it's not, I would never say it's an easy journey for
No,
everybody. And
no,
sometimes everyone always, they'll look at people and they'll think that they already read that book and they know that that person's, oh, it's okay for you because you've had this. But people literally don't know everyone's story of how they got to where they are.
yeah,
And it's never what we think it is.
it
There's
never is.
always, I generally believe that most people, that when they're really high achievers, have gone through some really dark situations in their life
Mm,
where they've pulled themselves back up
mm,
and they've got themselves to where they want to go.
absolutely. And everything that happens to you makes you the person that's just sitting in front of me. So it's. Yeah, that's so true. So I was going to ask you what your heritage is, but you said it.
Asian. I'm a Bajan. I'm a Bajan.
Yes.
I spent, what did I went there in 1979. Even 2 or 3 years.
Mm,
I went to school out there. My mum, bless my mum, she's 84, 83, 84 years this year. And she had 6 kids before she was 23 years old.
oh
Like,
goodness
I'm
me.
like crazy. And
Yeah.
her life was very, very complex. My mum and dad divorced when I was 5. We
Mm.
moved down to London. I was born in Bradford, moved down to London.
Okay.
Yeah. And my mum found it very, very difficult to look after all of us. So some of us got, like West Indian families do, we get shipped over to the West
Mm.
Indies, and then we come back. And that's what I did.
Okay.
It
Okay.
wasn't the,
How long?
it was,
How long were you in Barbados for? What was? Because you said you went to school
I
there.
should have been, yeah, I should have been there for longer. It
Mm.
wasn't the best experience of my life, I have to
Okay.
say. It was very, yeah, traumatic for me. I think the
Mm.
2 years, the 2 or 3 years I was there for. I
Yeah.
went in 79, came back in 81, 81, 82. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't go back for maybe 20 odd years. Then because then my grandmother passed away.
Okay.
But yeah, the West
Interesting.
Indies. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
I mean, I'm there next month, gosh, with the joy retreat at
Oh,
Barbados.
right.
And
I know. I
I get
love Barbados. I love Barbados. I
yeah,
just
yeah,
think
yeah.
my experience wasn't good, but I
Yeah.
love Barbados.
Yeah.
My schooling and my friends were second to none. They were absolutely incredible
Mm,
people that probably saved me as a person. And
mm.
yeah, because they were quite. It was back then. Back then in the 70s, it was a different era of
Yeah.
bringing children up
Yeah.
and how
Absolutely.
they saw children and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you were born in Bradford. You've done London. You've done
Yeah.
Barbados.
Yeah.
Where are you based now, and how old are you?
So I'm based in Hertfordshire, and
Okay.
I'm going to be 60 next month. I
A
know.
big
See,
year.
I'm a proper adult now. A proper adult.
I love it. Welcome to the
Proper
almost
adult.
60s club.
Yeah, 60. Do you know, I think, that people always say that when you get to 50, oh, it's a midlife crisis and you're doing this, you're doing that. Do you know, I actually thought, oh, is it, this whole thing, oh my God, I've got to change my life, all these things are happening. But I think when you get to 50 or, then 60, whatever, your quality of life or how you look at life is so different.
It is.
And for me, God willing, I hope I've got a few more years, but my time is 20, 30, 40 years from now. Like you can actually picture like
Yeah.
that, your time won't be around for so long. So
Yeah.
your whole understanding of the quality that you want as a person, how
Mm.
you want yourself to walk through the rest of the years of your life, that
Yes.
becomes more apparent to you.
Yeah.
And I don't think, people say, oh, yeah, but why can't you have it when you're in your 20s or your 30s? Sorry, I'm wriggling out of my chair. Your 20s or your 30s. But you can't have that because you have to reach it to know it. I would never
Yeah.
teach my girls
100%.
yeah, I would
You
never
have to.
teach my
Yeah.
girls. Yeah, I would teach my girls work ethic, but I would never get them to try and understand where I am at because they
Yeah.
won't know it because you have to be emotionally there to know it and to understand it. And then the whole understanding of your well-being and what you want for the rest of your life,
Mm.
that becomes your number one priority.
Mm.
And that's the thing that you focus on how can I create and be that actual person after having all of these years of dialogue and emotions and
Mm.
whether it's trauma and family and breakups and all these kind of stuff. When you get to a certain pinnacle of your life,
Mm.
all of that comes into play, and then you decide, where do I want to go with all of this?
Yeah.
And some
That,
people can be victims of their childhood or adversity and things that happen. And sometimes, emotionally, it's very difficult for some people to actually get over certain things.
mm.
Whereas, like for me, I have tried my hardest to just let the past be the past
Mm.
and let
Mm.
Jennifer because if I didn't go through what that I went through, then I wouldn't be who I am today. And I love who I am.
100%.
I love who I
100%.
am. I love all of the understanding of life and people
Yeah. Yeah.
and what I want for my girls and
Yeah.
what most importantly that I want for myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is a catalogue of information that sometimes can be overwhelming and you have to pull yourself back a little bit. But other
Mm.
times it's like, come on, you can do this. Like you just put one foot in front of the other.
I don't know about you, but this knowledge of self took me by surprise. Like the things I like and the things I want to do and the things I'm able to step away from. I can't imagine that being like that 20 years ago. I can't imagine being like that 30 years ago. I'm
Yeah,
often surprised about it's about how you approach things. Like it doesn't mean that life gets easier. It means your approach to things is different and therefore it doesn't become there isn't as it doesn't feel as dramatic. I don't know. It's I'm so because you sound like someone who's looking forward to being 60, and I love that, because that's part of this, and part of one of the reasons I do this podcast also is that menopause isn't all doom and gloom, and so
Yeah.
I want to ask you, who taught you about menopause?
I literally didn't really think much about it until I watched a podcast, I think it was with Davina. And Davina, I messaged her and I was like, oh my gosh, like how I didn't even know this was a thing, to be fair, because my mum would go on about hot flushes. I'm sure I probably heard about
Mm,
the menopause and all that sort of stuff, but didn't really think of it anything. I didn't really understand what was going on until I actually saw a podcast that Davina did, and then I started sort of like sorting out information for myself, and because I was getting hot sweats and I could feel that there was a change in my body, but wasn't completely aware of it. I just kind of like accepted that it's just like a
yeah.
headache. Basically, you just move on to the next thing and you just deal with it because in my I mean my mother, she just cracked on and she just did what she did.
As
So
many people did, yeah.
yeah, and so I went and kind of sorted out the information and understanding of what it was about, and thought I didn't really get much symptoms until maybe I was about 53, 54. And then I decided to go on HRT,
Hmm.
but it didn't work for me
So how did you
because
make that decision? Because there's this thing around. Whilst more and more people are going on HRT, half the people who go on it and can go on it are black women, and I wonder what your thought process
yeah,
was.
I think for me the thought process was prevention because I was
Yeah.
listening to all the things that could happen,
Mm,
bones, heart attack, all that sort of stuff, to my body if I did prepare it
yeah.
properly whilst going through the menopause.
Hmm.
And so I went and I saw. I think it may have been somebody that Davina went to see about the HRT, and
Okay.
then I and then I and then I went to see my own gynecologist about HRT.
Mm,
And when I was on it for maybe I think 8 or 9 months, it could have been the HRT. It may have just been growing anyway, but I started to
mm.
get polyps. And
Ah,
then, yeah, and then my gynecologist, she said to me that it could be the fact of too much estrogen or whatever it may be, and
yeah.
told me that how was I before I was taking HRT. And I just said to her, I didn't even know whether I was going through it or not going through it. I just accepted the
Right.
fact, hot sweats, all that sort of stuff. I'm very aware of my body and how my body digests certain foods. So I
Yeah, you
cut
have
certain
to
things
be.
out if they don't feel right or that sort of stuff. And she just said to me, well, look, try and see what it feels like if you come off it, if there's
Mm,
any difference. And what I found was that I then started investigating what was like more of a natural way, nutritional way. Started
mm.
getting bitters, went to the West Indian kind of like heritage of life,
I
getting the
saw a reel
bitters.
that you did, or I saw a
Yeah,
video you did when you
yeah,
went to a local
yeah.
health. Can you shout
And
them out? What was the name of
yeah,
that place?
it's a Pembenzi
Okay,
in Lewisham,
right.
and it's the girl's cousin's wife.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So she told me to come down, and she's so Erica is so good on
Mm,
understanding the body. Young black girl. She
mm,
goes for all the natural assist products, and she was showing me just all these different things that you could take, but were
yeah,
like things that we forgot about. Like we used to get
yeah,
washouts all the time in the West Indies. We
yeah,
used to go to all the natural things, the bitters, the sea moss, all this sort of stuff. The linseed, all this sort of thing we used to take when we were younger, and we stopped taking it just because we just got caught up in life. So she's kind of brought me back into that, and I'm very, very aware of myself. So I've basically gone through as much as the menopause and on a natural level for me,
yeah,
without any sort of like interference or anything.
yeah. So when you said that you developed polyps,
Yeah.
um, and was that your gynecologist found that out, or did you have symptoms, and what did you do about those?
See, I think because of being an athlete, I think
Yeah.
I'm very, very aware of how my body reacts or feels at certain times.
Mm.
And it was just off by chance that my stomach felt really hard at
Yeah.
one stage. And then I had a period of time where I ran out of the patches. And
Okay.
so I had to wait. And in that period of time that I had to wait, my stomach went down and it felt normal. Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, that's a bit tricky. So then I went back on there. Then my stomach got hard again. And I just thought, something doesn't seem right here.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So when I went to my gynecologist, that's when she found that there's polyps there. So maybe just it was just making my stomach really hard.
Mm.
And when I came off there, and then when I went back on it, the hardness came back again, and that's when I
Right.
went and got it checked up. Yeah.
Okay. So you haven't got polyps anymore?
No, I mean I had them removed. Then I had a
Yeah.
smear
Right.
test. I'm trying. Yeah, I'm having a smear test. I have a smear test once a year, to be fair, just because it's
Yeah.
just one of those things that just to make sure that I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so hopefully so far everything's okay. But the one
Mm.
thing I found within the menopause is your digestive system is all over the shop. Or I could go and sit on that bathroom for 100 years and
Mm.
drop a p, just drop one little tiny half a pence. I'm like what the hell? Like I've spent all this time sitting here, willing, thinking
Yeah.
a ginormous mountain is gonna come down, and half a pence drops out. I'm like what? This is just crazy. So in
Oh,
myself, like
dear.
I can't train any harder because I did athletics and so much, gladiators, my body is shot. It's so tired. The knees, the lower back. I can't overtrain. I have to be very, very sensible about how I train.
But
So
you're
one of the
overtraining. The way you train, like you talk about training and me talking about training are two different things, aren't they?
I know I
You
saw
know,
you
because I saw that
with,
lovely,
with
such a
Tara.
beautiful interview you did where you're sitting on the kitchen counter with your cup of tea or whatever it
Oh
was, and
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
cup of
yeah.
bitters or
With
whatever you
move the
had in
gap.
that cup.
Yeah, with
Who
move the gap.
knows?
Yeah,
And about listening to your body and being aware of the kind of exercise that you can do, you know? But
yeah.
yeah, sorry, you were saying I
Yeah.
cut you
Oh,
off.
no,
And you
that's it.
can't
Yeah,
train
because
like
that's another thing.
you.
Yeah, that's another thing that we've started, like going to the thing with Move the Gap with some other ladies and talking about the difference in everybody's bodies. And
Yeah.
I think everybody thinks, oh, because you're an athlete, you train really hard. I probably train less than everybody else, a lot
Mm.
less. But what I've really dialed into is my gut health.
Okay. Tell us
Like
more
I,
about that.
okay. So I stopped eating meat probably about 19 years ago, only because I was allergic to hair dye. And because I dyed my hair twice and my face blew up, had a really bad reaction. And one of my friends took me to a resort, and these people were like vegans and pescatarians, and they didn't really believe in me. So I just tried out something for a while, and I stopped eating meat, and it was to me probably one of the best things I did. At first, I was like, "Oh, my chicken, my chicken!" I worked in McDonald's. Quarter pounder of cheese and Big Mac and all that was my thing. Do you know what I mean? And like all of a sudden now, I just can't do it. So I stopped eating meat. But then, as I was going through the menopause, I realised that I wasn't digesting things properly, and like I was training so hard and not losing the weight, and I was thinking, what? There's got to be something going on. And
Mm.
so I think probably just before the new year, I decided to cut out refined sugar. So cakes, biscuits, chocolate,
Oh my God. See,
all that. No, I've tried so many times. I've tried so many times,
mm,
and I just couldn't think like, why is my body just like just not feeling great? Like it wasn't
yeah.
digesting things. And I've got really good probiotics. I'm trying to take care of everything, and then
Mm,
the craziest thing about dropping all of that sugar is that when I went on the scales, there
yeah.
wasn't a massive difference in like weight loss,
Yeah.
but my clothing
Yeah.
was fitting so much looser and everything. So when I spoke to
Mm,
my gynecologist, she was saying to me, Jennifer, what you've lost is the information on your body. So what was making your body
Oh,
full of water and bloaty was the
mm,
sugar. And once
right.
I calmed all that down, the whole body size just started changing.
Mm,
And I'm a lot more aware. My eyes, because I think one of the things I was looking at more than anything was just the whites of my eyes because they weren't white enough. And I was thinking, see, it's just I've eaten sweets, chocolates, done everything for 60 years. Like, come on, Jennifer, like
yeah,
you can take a break,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
not, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I don't feel
So you
like
carried it on. So you carried it on.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Even last night when I went to an event, the apple crumble looked. Oh my gosh.
You turned
So
down apple crumble, Jennifer Stoute.
I love
My
apple
goodness
crumble.
me.
I was the first one in my queue at school. The spotted dick pudding, semolina with jam. I was there. I was that person. And then, yeah, but the reason why I'm not doing it, I don't feel like I'm tortured. I've never been a drinker, that sort of stuff. But
Yeah,
the reason why I'm doing it is because I want to be the best version of me. I'm so proud of myself for actually doing that because I know
yeah,
why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for
yeah,
anything else other than like to show anyone. I'm doing it for me
yeah,
because I really want to give my body the best it can give so it
yeah.
can return, give me the best I can have for the next
Mm.
20 or 30 years.
You must have been, always been really motivated. Like you sound like someone who once you decide on something, you're doing it. And
I
because
think,
what you described is not easy. Giving up
no,
sugar for someone who's been eating sugar, putting my hand up here, for,
yeah, no, yeah,
60 odd years and I have toyed with the idea. I'm
yeah,
laughing because I toyed with the idea of giving up sugar. I literally went out for a walk, and at the end of that walk, I bought myself a big shortbread, and it's sitting in my
yeah.
sitting in my kitchen. But maybe not today, eh?
Not
Have you
today,
always
darling.
been like
Not today. I know, but I think with everything, it's like, going grey and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff. You have to be ready. You have to be
right,
ready. And I think that, it's got to be something that you want when you want it.
yeah,
And when you're, see, for me, when you're fully zoned in and fully
yeah,
committed, and people know what that zoned in feeling feels like, because when you think about something that you actually want, it doesn't have to be nothing big, it doesn't have to be a big accolade or sports, or it
yeah,
could be, the dress, it could be finding a book, it could be going somewhere. When you're fully dialed in for what you really want,
yeah,
you can get it. And that's the feeling I say to everybody. You get there when you get there, but when you're fully dialed in, there's nobody, no one who can shift
mm,
you. There's no one who can shift you. And that to
right,
me is probably the most beautiful feeling for me is when I'm
yeah,
fully dialed in. Is
yeah.
when I'm fully dialed in.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. You talked about you said that you watched a podcast or listened to a podcast with Davina, and that was when you realised you were like, oh, I might be menopausal too, and you contacted her. Did you speak to anybody else about your menopause?
I,
Did
I
you
spoke to
bond
my
with
mum.
your friends over it? Oh yeah,
No,
what
I
did
spoke to
she
my
say?
mum. You don't need it, Jennifer. Why are you doing it? I never did it when I was your age. Look at me. I'm fine. I was like, Mum, you're loopy. That's why you're nuts. That's why you're nuts, Mum, because you didn't do it. You
Your
should have
mum
done
and
it.
my mum sound very similar. My mum's 85.
Yeah, you should have done it. I don't know why you're doing it. And I was like, Mum, you don't need it. You don't need it. But I spoke to a few of my friends, and I spoke to quite a lot of the black community more than anything, to be fair,
Mm,
because a lot of black girl women don't talk about it. Like, we just get on with it. Like, we just do it. So when I spoke to them about HRT, they're like, "What's that? They're, what's
wow.
that? Who does that? Like, what's that? What's that?" And I was like, "Have you on it?" And they're like, "No." And I was
Mm,
like, "Yeah." "Yeah, but it's something that we're all supposed to take, and it's meant to make us all feel good." And they were like, "No, like, I haven't done it. My mum hasn't done it. No one's done it. We can just rock on and just do our thing." And I was like, "No, we suffer. Like,
yeah,
why do we suffer? We suffer because I think it's just a thing that's ingrown in us. Like, and I think it's just the way society has always been. Like, I would never say to my girls, "Oh, because you're black, you're never gonna get, certain jobs or whatever, I just expect them to rock on and do their thing. Like if someone doesn't give you a job, it's because
mm,
you weren't good enough. You just carry on. I never get them to look at the secondary, and
mm,
the secondary could be because they're black. The secondary could
mm.
be the fact we're going through this whole sweat thing because of the menopause. But
Yeah,
our makeup is to just keep going forward.
yeah,
And and then when I spoke to a couple of my friends about the menopause, and they were like, "No, I've never really thought about going on HRT. I never really thought about that." And I was just like, "Listen, you don't necessarily have to go on HRT, but you just need to investigate it, find
yeah,
out why you're going through the hot sweats. Body change, mood swing. Crying all the time because
mm,
we all wake up. Like sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, how do I feel today? Am I going to cry or am I
yeah.
happy? And I have to kind of check myself. And then when I can feel that little emotion coming up, I'll be like, no, 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 hold a minute, Jennifer. There's nothing major going on in your life. You're going to be
Mm,
cool. Just get
mm.
up, you do one step at a time, and then just see how you feel.
I'm so glad that you said that, particularly about the emotional stuff, because I think there's, like you said earlier about, people assume, there are certain, people assume your life, don't they? They look at your life, they see it on Instagram, let's for example, or they read about it in the paper in your case or whatever, and they make decisions about and assumptions about you. And there would be an assumption that, oh, well, you've got this high-flying job, you're a model, you're this, you're that. You're never going to wake up and feel a little bit wobbly. But I think it's important for people to understand that humans feel wobbly. That happens. And I've done exactly the same thing in the sense that every morning I wake up. First of all, I'm like, where am I? and then, because I'm freelance. I'm like, what day is it? Oh
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
also
yeah,
that whole kind of gratitude thing. I think I interviewed someone a couple of years ago, JMA, and she talked about smiling, like intentionally smiling and making, in a sense, making herself happy before anything else could kind of get in. And other people have talked about saying 5 things they're grateful for out loud and stuff like that.
yeah,
Whatever makes it work. But the point is that you can be in control of how you
yeah,
feel.
yeah. And that's and
I'm not.
that's the thing I think. Yeah, and that's the thing I think that whether through menopause life, teaching my girls or whatever, I think that the world, the society that we're living in right now, has
Mm,
taken the ability away from us to have this inner strength, to,
yeah,
to actually make us understand that what we want to draw on and how we see ourselves and the information that we put into our minds
mm,
is basically just noises. Like we are in control of that. Like sometimes if I get moments where I feel that the world is too much, I will look for all my positive podcasts. I'll look for my motivational podcast, and I will literally just drink that stuff every day for as long as I can, 3 or 4 days. It's just in my headphones, and I'm just listening, and I'm almost brainwashing myself into a feeling of abundance, because sometimes you just have to have that. You have to
yeah,
lock yourself away. You have to have the noise, whether it's music, whatever it may be, just to put you back onto that level of where you
yeah,
want to go. Because there's nothing wrong with, I always say, sitting on a park bench when when everything's out of control and you literally can't do anything about it. Sometimes it's just good just to sit still,
yeah.
and that stillness could be an hour, 2 hours, could be a whole day, could be a whole week. But
Mm,
you stay still. But the one thing you must always listen to is that if your inner self is saying to you, it's going to be okay, then that's the
yeah,
voice you listen to. And the
yeah,
chaos will calm itself down when it's
yeah,
supposed to calm itself down. And when you haven't got that control to stop it, you just have to leave it. And
yeah.
that's the scary bit.
The silence is important. The
Yeah.
silence certainly, for me, always works. I've moved to the sea, and when I feel like everything's taking over, I literally walk across the road and sit and look at it. And having the opportunity to be able to shut that out. Everybody can do it. It feels like a luxury, but actually there is a way to shut yourself away, even if it's lock yourself in the bathroom for 5 minutes, that kind of thing. That silence is really important to let the answers come in as well. Do you discuss your menopause, or have you, with your girls? Like, are you? This isn't one of my questions. It is now,
Oh
though.
no, 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 of course, no, yeah, no. I mean, my girls always do, and I go,
Because we both have two girls. My girls are older than yours. Mine are 29 and 34. You've got yours at home, but certainly these conversations. How is it? How important are these conversations if you're having them?
no, I mean, to me, immensely important, especially the fact is, with their periods and how they cope with their periods, and then what's going to happen. We talk about childbirth, we talk about breastfeeding, and about what happens in
Mm,
all these different years of your life and how your life changes, and how you have to have a good handle
mhm.
on the changes that are happening in your life. And I think that with me and with the girls, because they've never seen me, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not a person who sits there and cries, or I'm not a person who who gets really sad. I'm somebody that I'll go quiet, but then if
Okay.
I know something needs to get done, I always get up and done. And I'm sure I could do something bad in a way, because
Is that a
the girls
conscious
have,
decision? Because it doesn't. You don't. It's not that you don't cry. It's just that your girls don't. Do you know what I mean? Is that
yeah,
something?
yeah.
Sometimes we don't want to cry in front of our kids.
Yeah, but I think for me, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Is I feel, oh God, if I sit here and cry for 10 minutes, that means that I've lost 10 minutes. I'm still going to be back in the same
Wow.
place. Yeah, I'm still going to be back in the same place. So I mean, in my head, I feel like, because listen, I've done a lot of crying. When the girls' dad and I split,
Yeah.
cried my eyes out.
Hmm.
I've done a lot of crying, and now I just want to do a lot of doing. I've done a lot
Ooh.
of crying. I want to do a lot of doing. And without going, and we can have, this could be another topic that you and I could talk about something without going really, really down. So the whole stint of me in Barbados was about child abuse and being
Right.
sexually abused as a kid. Okay, so it's really deep, deep. And when I was 16, I tried to take my own life,
Hmm.
and it didn't, and tablets, but it didn't happen. So in my head, when I go through loads of, like, if my moments are really down and I'm really fed up and I just can't handle it, I keep going back to that one moment in time, and I
Hmm.
say, Jennifer, you tried to take yourself out and it didn't happen. So you're here because you wanted to be here. So
Yes.
you're gonna stay here, and it's crazy because all this just the whole thing of my mum being a single parent, her trying to take her life, and us going into, like, children's homes, then getting shipped over to Barbados and having that experience, and then coming back, and then just my whole life at 18 and 19 was just like manic. Like, I just had my head thinking, no, I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be that person, and then said, I'm not going to be a single mother. That my mum's a single mother. I'm not going to be a single mother. And then I was a single mother. And I
Mm.
was like, oh my gosh, like, how are all these things happening to me? So
Yeah.
I've soaked myself in tears, soaked myself in tears. So now, when I get that moment of where it feels that things are, I feel like, out of control, or, I feel emotional, and I know it's, menopause style or whatever it may be, I draw back down to all those days of strength. And I say to myself, you've been here, you've done it, you've gone through it. It's crazy. Like, come on, Jennifer, just relax, take
Mm.
a deep breath, and let's just make our steps.
Mm.
And every time I do that, I've always been okay. And that's the
Thank you.
bit I draw on. And that is why I say, without, like, throwing every single thing in that's gone through life, is that I don't feel a victim of past or whatever. I feel like I've thrived, and all the information I can give to my kids. I can give
Yeah.
to, their strength about how they are, and to other people, and actually look at life and think, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Like, how
Mm.
great can I be? How great
Yeah.
can I be? and
Thank
that's
you.
and that's the path that I want to go down, and be there, and to say, and to create for women of all color, or women in just general,
Yeah.
like we are amazing.
Yeah.
We are
Oh.
absolutely. We give birth. We nurture. We carry. We sit down. We're conversationists. We can be like, we want to, like, don't get me wrong. Sometimes my kids, I want to hang them on the wall, like, it's like me crazy. But if you breathe your way through, you just got to jump, haven't you?
Yeah. I want to acknowledge that you've just shared a lot of stuff. And I want to thank you. Thank you for, sharing about your experience and just talking about how that's made you a more resilient, a stronger person, or made you the person you are. Let's just put it that way. We talk about strong black woman. We understand that that doesn't serve us, but the other side to that is this is your way of moving through and moving to 59. Coming to the person who's talking to us now. Um, and I think the other thing about getting to the age we are, or getting, certainly coming through menopause and getting to postmenopause, is recognizing that it is an amazing gift. It can be an amazing gift once you clearly, done your research, looked at what works for you. HRT didn't work for you, moved on to other things, and but you also know your body and you know yourself, and
Yeah.
that's key, isn't it? You know.
And that to me is the key for everything. It's listening to who you are and what you're about, and giving yourself
Mm.
everything that it needs to be able to give back to you. Because I always say that when you're young, your body looks after you. You don't have to worry about it. But when you get older, you have to look after your body.
You
Now,
do.
how much you want and love yourself will tell
Mm.
you how much you will work with your body, and you'll give your body back what it needs. And I feel that there isn't anything too small to not give back to ourselves. Like everything, or sorry, too big not to give back to ourselves. We have to appreciate the wealth of what we're going through. And like our bodies, because we're always fighting menopause, and for me, the way I look at it, and this is how I've gone into like really even more so going into my 60s with the gut health, is that we have this internal war with our
Yeah.
bodies.
Mm.
Going through menopause. So we have to eliminate as much of the war as possible inside of us to be able to soldier through.
Yeah.
And it is, if HRT works for you, knock yourself out, go on it. If it doesn't, you find your alternatives. You look at your health, you look at how you are, look at your gut, look at what makes you function, things that make you happy, things that
Mm.
make you step forward, and
Mm.
they're the things that you grab and you hold on to, and you make them be your sort of like your mentor, your physical step, your walking step, all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. So you don't take HRT, and what are the other things that your non-negotiables that you might take? For example, I have, for me, it's vitamin D. And at the moment I'm into B vitamins because I've had, some stressful times, and I feel like that is something that helps me. So do you take any supplements?
Yeah, I take a really good probiotic,
Okay.
a good collagen. I do take a multivit as well, so I'll take a multivit. But I'm a real sort of fruit avocado, so I'll get my sugars from certain fruits and
Yeah.
dates.
Yeah.
So I'm always chopping up like carrots and cucumbers and
Mm,
tomatoes and nuts, and I have them all sort of like all chopped up in there so that I can pick on those rather
right.
than going to pick on other things that are around. I have a nice little jar of all these different sort of different nuts.
Oh, so you prep
So
them. Right, okay.
yeah. So I prep it for myself so that I have no excuse, so that I can make it work without having to like
Mm,
grab something else or whatever. So yeah, and I'll generally always look at how my body feels. Like if I feel really dry, or if I feel that I need to have like an electrolyte, and I think all that's done through track and field for athletics.
yeah,
You kind of
true.
get, and then I always make sure that I have my oily fish and that sort of thing, just so I can, just put back some more oils into my bodies and that sort of stuff. But don't get me wrong, like my knees and my back. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, what part of my body do I move first that doesn't hurt? You roll out the bed, and I'm like, okay, I've still got my arm, I've still got my leg, my back's still working
Yeah,
for me. So yeah, it's all these things, and it's yeah, it's an experience. I think the menopause is an experience because we all experience
it
it, and we've all got different mental capacity. Because I wouldn't say that everybody's mental capacity is exactly the same. And I would
is.
never say to somebody, because I do it, you should do it. Not in a
Yeah.
million years, because
Mm,
we all like different things. And I
mm,
feel that everybody should step in the way that they're comfortable in stepping. And there's
yeah.
nothing wrong that when you don't feel like you can do it and you feel like it's becoming too much, you have to reach out. You have
Yeah.
to reach out. You have to reach out and talk to people and have a good understanding with individuals. I mean, bless and and I'll say it very quickly, like Ian, who I met on Bumble, my partner, and I've been with him for 8 years.
Hey,
He's like, yeah, he's
big
like
up,
my best friend.
Ian.
Yeah, he is my best friend, and I can talk to him about every single thing that goes on in life, and
Mm,
and I can offload, and he offloads on me, and we all need
yeah.
somebody to offload onto, even
Yeah.
if we're jumping around, singing and laughing and whatever.
Mm,
You've got to have an offload. You have to have an
mm,
offload, and even if it's
mm,
like you said, a quiet moment, just sitting there and just breathing yourself through, it's because life it can be brutal and it can be amazing at the same time.
yeah.
And we just have to accept that that's just how it is. And
Mm,
it doesn't mean to say that it has to be soul destroyed for everyone. We just have to control the controllables that we can control. And
mm,
that's it.
yeah. Do you have a routine?
I have
Do
a
you have
routine.
like a
Yeah,
daily routine?
I get up in the morning, and my routine is I'm always doing these exercises for my hips because I sit so much, my hips are killing me. But I will have hot water in the morning as soon as I get up, like like a cup of hot water. Then I'll have my coffee later on, so hopefully it help me with a bit of movement. And then my general thing, like I will crack on and go into work, but I've always got like an Abraham Hicks or some sort of a pick me up. Right
Yeah.
now, my pick me up is Luther Vandross. He loves
Okay.
music. Yeah. So I'm listening to him because I watched his life story and it's
Mm,
amazing.
mm,
And just having that understanding, like I just put something in that makes me feel great.
yeah.
As Luther's song is so amazing. Just love
Mm,
it. Just love it. And I'll do that. And sometimes if I feel like I haven't done enough for myself, I'll walk around the house with a face puff, with a face mask in the mornings, just doing my thing, just give myself my little 5 minutes back to myself. Because it's not
I love
easy.
that.
Like you have a job and you've got a kids and you've got to run around. You can't do everything. Like
Yeah.
and you get caught up with watching everybody like we're on Instagram and everyone's doing amazing things. It's like fine, do your thing. I've got to do my thing. I'm going to concentrate on what I've got to do,
Yeah.
and and become that person. And my thing is that time is time. You can become whoever you want to become at whatever age
Yeah.
when it happens.
Well,
That's
you're
just how
preaching
I
to
feel.
the converted here because that's exactly how I feel about life in general, that it's never too late to do anything that you want to do if that's something that you want to do. And don't let society tell you that you're too old to do something because it's down to you, you know.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
how do you celebrate yourself?
How do I celebrate
Do
myself?
you celebrate yourself, Jennifer Stout?
No, do you know, it's really crazy. My celebration is um, going to the gym, working out. I love working out. If I can work out with my music on, no one interrupting me or talking to me, that's my day. I love it. I literally love it. And it's not working out and jumping all over there and getting all exhausted. It's about stretching. It's about
Mm,
small weights. It's just about consistency. It's just about
yeah,
walking through those moments, going to the gym, like just doing dumbbells, doing some squats, listening to the music, stretching. Gosh,
yeah.
that is a Jennifer Stat reward day. That's me
Wow.
giving
And
back to
it's
me.
time for you. It's time
Yeah,
for
yeah, and just have
just
my headphones
for
on.
you.
Yeah, and listen to the
Yeah.
music I want to listen to, and just
Yeah.
getting into it. It's just beautiful. And when you have that moment in times when you can give that back to yourself, you
Mm,
champions. I can take on the
yeah.
whole world. I'm bulletproof. I'm bulletproof. I'm bulletproof.
Love that.
And I will
I love
just, yeah, and I will just think, okay, I've stacked up my stock. Okay, let's go. Let's go. And
good.
and it is that thing where when you get that feeling, you conquer the whole day. And you're like, yes, done it, done it, done it, done it, done it, done it, done it. You go to sleep, you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, I gotta do it
Yes,
all
I'm
over
glad you
again.
said that because I'm the same.
I'm like, I gotta do it all over again. You're like, okay, let's go for this ritual. Wake yourself up. Blah, 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 blah. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Bang it out. Wake up in the morning, and that's how crazy life is. And I never thought I would be working as hard as I did at like coming up to 60. Didn't even think I was going to be doing it at 60. And I'm like, wow, like I didn't think I'd be working this hard at 60, but I am.
But you're doing what
And
you love. You're doing what you
yeah,
love.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
that's the important.
yeah, but the one thing I'm going to really work on that I don't work enough on, and I think it's you know my third thing in life in terms of like, okay, I've given up the meat, I've given up the sugar, is my sleep. I'm terrible
Ah,
with sleep,
yeah,
and
really.
I can go to bed at 1:30, 2 o'clock, wake up at 7, and I can do this on a regular. And it's so, and like I've been lectured by so many people who told me, Jennifer, this is so wrong, and
Okay, so I won't
I've
say
seen.
anything.
Yeah, no, 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 no.
I'm
But
just joking.
I know how important it is. So for me now, I mean, I try to go to bed at half 10, 11. It just ain't gonna happen. But 12 o'clock is my cutoff.
Okay,
12 o'clock at night, because we have overseas athletes and clients and stuff. But 12 o'clock is my cutoff, and I
okay.
make myself go to bed. I switch off everything, and
Mm,
I've got to go to bed. I don't care. Like if anything's happening and it's not being fixed, because I like to clean the whole house before I go to bed. Like
mm.
all of a sudden I come alive and I'm cooking and cleaning and washing and all that sort of stuff at 12 o'clock at night. And I'm like, who does that? Um, and then I have to say to myself, right, cut yourself off. Your sleep is so important, Jennifer. You can do all this stuff around you, all this health thing, but the
Mm.
one thing that's probably the most important thing
I
is
was
my
going to
sleep.
say, yeah.
And
You'll work it
of that,
out. Because you
no, I'm
know.
going to. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going
you'll
to.
work it out because you know it's the one
Yeah,
thing. So you work
yeah.
it out eventually. And I'm sure you have people around you who are giving you plenty of advice or who you can turn to if you need to.
Yeah, definitely.
Which tune instantly makes you want to get up and dance? I have a Spotify playlist for
Oh, I
guests.
want to dance with somebody. I want to get the move with
Hey,
somebody. Yeah, Whitney Houston, love that song. With
I love the
somebody
impromptu
who loves
performance
me.
as well. Go on,
Yeah.
girl. Okay, last question. Last question. What's the one piece of advice you would give to anyone listening right now?
Encourage yourself to be yourself.
Hmm, that's it.
That's it. I say that to my
Encourage
guests
you
all the time.
to
Encourage
be
yourself to
yourself.
be yourself because
Wonderful.
there's no one else in this whole entire world
Mm,
could give you back what you really want for yourself other than yourself.
mm, mm, mm. Thank you.
Who's anyone?
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
really
You did like a little bit of a like light up with me. Like, come on, Jennifer, talk about yourself. Do this, do that. And and sometimes with me, like, I'm sometimes I go deep when I have to go deep. I don't
mm,
always talk about my personal like stuff that have gone on in terms of trauma, but sometimes I feel because it's so easy for people to just talk about the bad things that happen in your life and the
mm,
way that's not how I see it. For me, I see it as my journey of
yeah,
my paper stack.
yeah,
But I'm never going to be a victim.
yeah. And
Or never.
I also feel like it's like you have a public persona, and it's very easy for people to only see that. And I think that knowing a little bit about your backstory is important. This podcast exists because these stories resonate. However, whatever you say, So I want to thank you again for sharing, some personal stuff, but also for taking the time out of your very busy day because I know you've got to go to
Jumping with it.
to chat with
Oh,
me. In it.
Okay, in it,
All
lad.
right, my
In it,
love.
in it. We'll do it again soon. Listen, you are bloody amazing, chick. I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I really do. And you're doing
Oh,
such
it's
incredible
long
work as well.
overdue.
Yeah, and
Long
you're doing such
overdue.
incredible work as well.
Oh, thank you,
Thank
babe.
you.
So, what did you think? I mean, Jenny is funny, and also so honest. All my guests are honest. I have to admit that. But I want to say that I really appreciated that Jenny shared a little bit more about her life. It's very easy, as we were saying on the podcast, in our conversation about how we look at people's lives in the media or on Instagram or on social media, and we, as humans, we make assumptions about them. And so for Jenny to, talk about the fact that when she gets up, she's not sure what mood she's in, or that kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's really refreshing. I think that the more we hear stories of people, it humanizes everyone, and it helps us to understand that whilst we feel like we're alone, or we feel like we're the only person going through a particular thing, especially when it's happening to us, we're in the throes of it. Actually, a lot of our experiences are commonplace, and also it's what binds us together. And that's what this podcast is all about. It's about sharing stories so that you find something that sticks and find something that resonates with you. I was talking to a friend earlier about about menopause in general, and how do you know that you're in menopause or you're in perimenopause? And she was talking about a few of her symptoms, and talking about supplements and the kind of things that she wants to do. And it struck me that we're all on a journey. We're all trying to do our best on this tiny little rock spinning through the universe. But what's really important is that whatever people say to you, whatever people tell you to do, if you're not ready to hear it, you're not ready to hear it. And so I encourage you to re listen to some episodes or go and listen to back episodes. But also remember that just because one person is saying, this works for me, not only does that not mean it will work for you, but also just hold on to those thoughts, because honestly, there are things that people told me to do, whether it was about, I don't know, running, which I'm now totally into, or weight training, which I can't believe I'll whisper this, but I'm starting to enjoy years ago. And I just thought, no, that's not for me. 40-year-old, 30-year-old Karen is side eyeing almost 63-year-old Karen now. But here we are. Listen to your body. Your body knows. You do know. The answers are within. It's about, as Jenny said, sitting still for long enough to allow them to appear. You can find Jenny on Instagram at gorgeous50s. And she's about to approach 60. Wow, amazing. Talking of birthdays, let's talk about mine. Well, when you listen to this, I'll be 63. But as I'm recording this, I'm 62 in 2 days, and I'm very excited. I'm 63, sorry, don't even know my own age. In 2 days, and I love a birthday. I'm a typical Aries sun, Aries rising. If that's you, if you're into that kind of thing, I am, and I love a celebration. There's a backstory to why I celebrate so hard. And celebrating can be all sorts of things. It used to be, I don't know, you might think it would be partying, but for me, I've booked a very nice restaurant to have brunch in. Then I'm going to go to an art gallery, and take in some art. And then I have been invited round to my daughters, um, where I will hang out with them and my grandson and be fed nutritious and delicious, and not maybe not so nutritious, but certainly delicious food. And I cannot wait. That's all I need. That's all we need. Uh, it's the simple things, isn't it? Anyway, if you love this episode and you love this podcast, please share it within your platforms, amongst your friends. Keep talking about menopause. Keep looking after yourself and go where the joy is. Be gentle with yourself, won't you? Take care. Bye.